Hello. Hi there. Hopefully, some of you will be able to find us pretty soon. You can either join the live stream on the group, Positive Pups Dog Training, or you can join through my personal page, either one, whichever is easiest for you. You may find that there are captions. I apologize if that's in the middle of the page. You might need to expand the page in order that the text is not across my face. So we'll give people a few minutes to join, and then I'll go through some housekeeping. So first and foremost, what I want to let you know is if you want to ask questions or comments or anything like that, you can absolutely do that during the session. Once we get started, excuse me, I'll leave. In fact, I'll wait and let others join first. You might hear some pings on my phone. I think there's people still trying to join the group and things like that before we actually get started. I'm really excited about this. Hello, Paul Allett. Hi. Yes, please, if you've joined, please do say hi. Please give us some likes as well. That helps other people be able to find us. And if you are, yep, that's somebody else joining. If you are joining me through Facebook, you will find a link either above or below. It might mean you need to go out of the live stream temporarily. Yep, Sydney, awesome. You've already granted StreamYard permission. Fantastic. You need to grant StreamYard permission to see your name. Otherwise, when I see the comments at this end, it just says Facebook user, and I don't know who you are. So as I say, we'll give people some time to join. Hi, Cara. Yep, Facebook user. So you'll possibly need to go out and come back in. And above, I'm just going to check on certainly on my personal page. So it's above the live stream. You'll see highlighted in blue, facebook.com/StreamYard. If you click on that and grant permission, then I'll be able to see you. Hello, Amanda. Yes, thank you for joining. We did get quite a few people interested, so I'm hopeful that we will see, we'll give some people some other time to join. I hope those of you who are already here don't mind doing that, but I don't want to start and then have people feel that they've missed out. There were quite a few, as I say, that joined, signed up for the next 3 nights training, which I am very excited about. Yes, I hope my dogs behave too, Amanda. My 2 are currently sleeping. I strategically timed their dinner this evening, so hopefully they'll have a snooze. But hopefully we will be able to get started soon. I'm just double checking to make sure everybody is able to. Yep, there we go. It's just some more people joining the group. So you can choose. There's 2 locations where we are streaming this evening, from my personal Angela Brown at Positive Pups Facebook page, or here in the group at Positive Pups Dog Training. So hopefully we'll get a few more people joining. But yes, so far we've got hi Paul, hi Sydney, hi Cara, and Amanda. I know there's a few more out there that will be joining us, but we'll get started really soon. I would say talk amongst yourselves, but well, you know, you can't see each other. So, oh, yeah, we're just about there, I think. Other people will join. And if people are missing it for tonight, then what will happen is the training sessions from tonight, tomorrow, and Friday will stay in the group for a week. So if you miss anything, it gives people who are perhaps night shift or work on shift patterns the chance to catch up, but then they will be moved into the Happy Herder College. So, but you will have some time to play catch up and things like that. So we'll get started soon. I've got a couple more people joining now. So we'll just give it a couple of minutes. I hope that's okay with everyone. While we're waiting on others joining, if you want to drop a comment in and tell me, I'd love to know what you hope to get out of these sessions. Obviously, I know why you've joined, why you've signed up, but I'd love to know what you really hope to get out of these sessions. What would make a big difference for you, aside from your dog not lunging and barking at cars anymore. You can't make tomorrow. That's fine, Amanda. Yeah, the lives will all be left in the group for a week. So you'll have plenty of time to play catch up. And also, do let me know if you all received your homework booklet. Yes, free training. However, you still got homework. So I'd like to know, I want to make sure everybody got them. If you didn't get the email, or if the email's gone into your junk mail or something like that, don't worry about it, because if you're in the Positive Pups Dog Training group, then the homework booklet can be downloaded from the Files tab in the Facebook group. So don't worry about it, but I'll go through all that as we progress through tonight. So hopefully we'll get started soon. You got the homework, brilliant, glad to hear it. You get nothing for free, really, do you? It's free sessions, but you've still got to do your homework, just like being at school. Hopefully it'll be straightforward enough. It'll be easy enough for you. Right, I just want to make sure I've got no one else. I'm not missing anyone that's trying to join the group frantically while we're waiting. And then we'll get started. So I think I've got most people now. Facebook user. Okay, so I'm not sure who it is. You'd like to feel more confident understanding the Collie breed and why they react the way they do. Yeah, absolutely. I will cover quite a bit of that tonight, actually, and why they behave the way they do. They're a very unique breed. But your comment has come up with Facebook user. So if you can, above this live stream in your Facebook or in the group, there's a link that says streamyard.com/Facebook. If you click on that and grant permission for StreamYard to see your profile name, it means then that when you comment or ask a question, then I can see your name. Because otherwise it comes up just as Facebook user, and I'm not sure who I'm speaking to, and I don't want anyone to think I'm being rude by not using your name. If it's there, I will certainly use it. So I'll just give you time. A little more help with Miss Ellie Mae. She is a beauty. She is I bet you she gets away with a lot with that face. Your 6th collie. Yep. The only car excited one. Room for improvement. Homework arrived, not got into it yet. Don't worry about that. I'll go through that tonight, Amanda. That's fine. So I think we'll get started. And if others are able to join, that's great. If not, they can always play catch up. I'm just going to do one final check on Facebook to make sure I haven't missed anyone. No, I haven't. Awesome. Brilliant. Yes, Cara, I can see your name now. She's a madam. Oh, is she Amanda? Yeah. I have my blue, if I tip the computer there, that is my baby. That's Oscar. He is my blue Merle and the apple of my eye. and trouble with a capital T. That one, absolutely trouble. He was the inspiration for why I'm doing what I do now. So yes, so thank you all for joining. I do hope you get a lot out of the sessions. Car chasing, yeah, and not just car chasing. It can be bikes, it can be joggers, it can be kids, it can be anything that moves around quickly and squeaks. But the worst offender for many, many collies seems to be cars. So why? That's what tonight's all about. Tonight, over the 3 nights, we're going to go through, excuse me, tonight is all about the kind of about border collies, a bit of background, why they do what they do, and the things that they do. Tomorrow, we're going to look at management and reward systems, which will, when I say management, that'll make a bit more sense as we progress through tonight. And then on Friday, I will take you through some of the techniques based on which group your collie kind of falls into. Some of the techniques I would recommend using to help. Now, tonight, you've just got me, but tomorrow night and hopefully Friday night, my colleague and friend Rachel is going to be joining us. She is the Border Collie consultant, and she is also a qualified behaviourist. She specialises in working with collies and has a particular area of focus around shadow and light chasing, obsessive compulsive behaviours. And some would say this kind of can fall into, it can tip over into that kind of OCD type behaviour where they become hyper aware, but I'll get to that. So what is a collie? What is a border collie? Well, the first border collie was Old Hemp, AULD, Old Hemp, owned by Mr. Telfer in Northumberland. And he was a very, very special dog. He was described as very ordinary, but had this amazing temperament and amazing ability to herd livestock. And he is, most border collies today, certainly in the UK, could be traced back to there or to Western Cap, which is one of his descendants. They are an amazing breed. Why do I specialise in working with border collies when there are so many other breeds? Well, because border collies are, let's just say, quirky. As a breed of dog that has been bred for centuries to do a specific task, so through a process called selective breeding, is why we now have German Shepherds, Border Collies, Dobermans, all sorts of different breeds for different tasks. And that's us as humans have selectively bred over generations to highlight some of the traits in dog and almost eliminate some of the others. And those traits that some dogs have and other dogs have is all part of what's called the predatory sequence. So the full predatory sequence starts off with noticing or eyeing, could be ear sniffing, that ear scenting that they do, or something catches their eye. And then you'll have the stalk, which is where you'll see your border collie. I'm going to look ridiculous here. I apologize in advance. The border collie, the shoulders look broader because they lower their bodies and can sometimes almost look like one, instead of looking like this lovely shaped dog, can look like this one straight line from nose to tail. That's when I've got a hard eye, we would call that, is when they stare, they fixate on the target that they are obsessing over, they are looking at. And then obviously you have the chase, the thrill of the chase, and we'll come back to that part in particular. And then for some dogs, you then carry on to the border collie will stop and control the movement of sheep, of cattle, of whatever. For other dogs, they will then carry on to the kill and consume. So catch, kill, bite, consume, or dissect and consume. It gives you the full predatory sequence. And over the breeds of dogs that we now have, which are many hundreds, specific breeds have had some parts of that highlighted. So for our border collies, theirs is the first part of that sequence, the eye, stalk, chase, and stop and control movement. They are not bred to be killing dogs. Some do and can, but they're not bred to be that way. They're bred to stop and control movement. If a border collie was to carry on the sequence, the shepherd would end up with no sheep. So we've highlighted those traits. And in a working dog, they are amazing traits. I don't know if you've ever seen any of the YouTube videos, and there's particular people that I follow myself, and these are amazing dogs. So then we take those dogs out of that working environment where they are bred to be impulsive, they are bred to be independent thinkers, they are bred to work at significant distances over a wide variety of terrains. It may be on the flat, it may be over hills and dales. A border collie can see things almost a kilometre in the distance. 900 meters to a kilometre in the distance, your border collie can still see movement. So when you think about it from that perspective, and that with their bred to stop and chase and control movement, they are used to living in a quiet environment. We bring them into our urban, city-based, busy world full of moving things. Now, that doesn't necessarily need to be cars. It can be the vacuum cleaner. It can be your child's skateboard or bicycle. It can be any number of things. All of the things that have these moving parts or move quickly. And your border collie wants to stop and control them. And if you don't give your border collie an alternative job, they will find a job to do. They're also bred to be super sensitive to both sound and movement. So you might see your border collie, sometimes it looks like their ears aren't working because you'll have one ear pointing straight up and one ear out to the side and flopped over. And actually, they've got this ability to listen to two things at once. So if you imagine them out on the moors or in the Highland Hills, and they are looking after this flock of sheep, they are herding them into the pens or wherever they need to, coming back down from the hills, and one is missing, they need to be able to hear that, and they need to be able to react accordingly. So their sight and their hearing is incredibly sensitive. So then that brings us to, why do our collies chase cars? That's why. They are, I just want to make sure I'm giving you absolutely everything. I've got plenty of notes here. So they are given a quarter mile of space from their handler. And then we bring them here and we want them to walk nicely on a loose lead along a roadside, by our side, all of the time, except when we say it's okay for them to run off and play. And then we find they're pulling on the leash. They are dreadful with recall sometimes, and obviously this is assuming before training, or can be in adolescence. Now, most people tend to find, unless you have an absolutely hardwired herder, if your dog comes from working stock, so there's two types, we tend to have show lines and working lines. Working line dogs will come from farms, or their parents or grandparents, or even next generation again, will have come from working stock. Other dogs may have come from show lines. These are dogs that may go to crufts and things like that. And their ability to pick up on our body language is second to none. That's why you see them excel in things like agility and obedience and things like that. That's not down to voice commands or cues. That's body language. And your border collie can sense, if you've, again, seen videos, the border collie sitting in the back of the truck will jump down and go find a sheep a quarter mile away without a single word from the shepherd, because they don't need it. All they need was that head turn, quarter turn to the right, and off she goes. They are so in tune. And that's why when we're working with Border Collies, relationship is absolutely everything. Absolutely everything. If you have a great relationship with your Border Collie, anything is possible. Now, when it comes to car chasing, there tends to be three groups. So you have, and this is where the homework comes in, because I'm asking you in one of the tasks to try and identify things that help you understand which group your dog falls into. So those three groups are the fearful group, the was fearful but kind of chased a few big cars away and I'm feeling pretty confident now group. And then there's the hardwired herders. Oscar, my dog, was a hardwired herder, is still. So what do I mean when I say that? So a fearful group, those are the group who they are extremely nervous around traffic. Their tail will be tucked in, which possibly right between their legs or even right under and, tucked up to their belly. They make themselves smaller. They try and pull away. Sometimes you can even find them trying to pull themselves out of their collar. They try to escape. You will see a lot of lip licking, flattened ears, panting, heavy panting, and sometimes you get what's called a displacement behavior, which is they feel really stressed, but they can't escape. So what they do is then they start to obsessively sniff. They sniff the ground. It's not a violent sniff, but that's sometimes what I describe it as. They will not lift their head. They're just obsessively sniffing all the time, which is different than the sniff you might see when you're taking your dog a walk through the woods and they're reading their P-mail, as I say. So that would be a fearful dog. The confident dogs, what you might also find with a fearful dog, they will lunge and bark, because if your Border Collie feels that all of their other attempts to tell you that they are afraid and uncomfortable in this situation have not worked, then they need to take take it into their own hands, and they try and scare things away. So they will try and scare the car away by lunging, barking, spinning, doing whatever they can. And of course, with practice, what happens is every time they do it, it works. Or at least it works as far as they're concerned, because the big scary thing goes away. And the more they do that, the more they get to practice this behavior and see that they're successful, the more they build confidence. So that fear starts to subside, the confidence starts to build, and they think, oh, hey, wait a minute, I'm actually quite good at this. These big things come, I shout at them and try and jump at them, and they go away every time. So the confidence builds, and then they get worse and they get worse. And it can obviously, as I'm sure you're all very aware, become dangerous. You would not be the first person who has almost ended up under the wheels of a car thanks to your Border Collie. The third group are the hardwired herders. And Oscar was that. Oscar was the epitome of what I expected in a Border Collie puppy. He was a dream to teach. He learned everything so quickly. Except Tug. Tug took a while. He was not a natural tugger. He responded well to food treats and positive reinforcement training. And then he was 7 months and 2 days old. That's how well this is imprinted in my head. And we went out the front door. Now, where I live, I go out my front door, I have a driveway, and then there's the street. It's not a busy street, but cars do go by. And he literally ran screaming down the driveway, trying to launch himself at this car, 7 months and 2 days old. And I had absolutely no idea what was going on. Now, I had done my homework. I had researched the breed. I knew exactly what I was getting into. I'd had collie crosses before with some of these traits, but never the car chasing. This was new. And then his recall went out the window, and you would have been forgiven for thinking I had never done a day's training with him in his life. And that was adolescence. Welcome to puppy adolescence with your Border Collie, as I'm sure some of you have experienced. So adolescence is a really, really tough time. Some of them sail through and have no problems. Dogs like Oscar, not so much. He is now 22 months old and much better. He is still intact. I made the decision not to neuter just now because he showed signs of nervousness. And he needs that testosterone. That's what gives them their confidence. That's a discussion for that's a very, very personal thing, and I wouldn't advocate one way or the other. It's a conversation to have with your vet. So where do we go when we have a dog that literally wakes up one morning and his eye has kicked in, the collie eye has kicked in? And if you've got a car chaser, the chances are you probably understand what I mean. And I've seen, I want to show you just a short video, if that's okay. Because recently I've seen some videos on some of the Facebook groups that I'm on of people doing their loose lead walking with their pups. So proud and delighted that these young puppies are doing so well with their loose lead walking. And I can't show you those videos much as I'd like to, because obviously I don't have permission. But what I can do is show you my video and explain what I mean. So body language is huge. Understanding your dog's body language will help you more than just about anything else that we discuss. Because when you start to be able to understand and see your dog's body signals telling you that they've noticed something, telling you that they can smell something, see something, or hear something, and how their body responds to that will allow you to then take steps while you train to prevent them from being able to access the car. So as I say, these beautiful puppies look like they're doing amazing with loose leash walking, and actually they're not. What they're doing, they are walking beautifully on a loose lead. They make no check-ins whatsoever with the handlers. And the position, the posture of the dog is they're carrying themselves low. They're constantly scanning the road area. The ears are in that sort of shape. I know this must look absolutely ridiculous. Instead of being up and kind of floppy and chilled, they're that way, hugely super alert. And these are young puppies, anything from 3 to 6 months old that I've seen recently, which is why I wanted to bring it up. They are not loose lead walking. I'm going to show you a video. And this is...
You're very clever. Oscar's always been a bit more of a tugger. Haven't you, baby? Yes. Yes, I know. You're so clever. Takes him a few minutes to settle. Good. Good. Shall we go this way? So we change direction. Car parks are great places. Quiet car parks, like this one, are great places for loose leash walking practice. Not least because the concrete actually helps keep the claws a little bit shorter, especially for dogs who don't really cope well with getting them clipped. I'm just stopping completely. Hi. Hello. Whenever he pulls, he still does it sometimes. No dog is perfect. First thing on a Monday morning. We wish it was still the weekend. They are glad it isn't. Let's keep going.
So that just gives you, that's Oscar. That is what loose leash walking looks like. And when I was talking earlier about checking in, he's looking up at me all the time, just checking in, just seeing where I am in relation to him is giving me his complete focus. Excuse me. And that is so important, hugely important. If when you're walking with your dog, you can see Oscar's body looks relaxed, he's floppy, he's chilled out, his mouth is open in almost a smile. So when you are looking at your dog when you're next out, if you're having problems with car chasing, really look at their body. The position of their ears. You'll see ear twitches or flicks when they hear something, and they will hear it long before you ever do. How they're holding their body. Do they look tense, like they're creeping, rather than loose and walking? Do they start to flatten down? Do they lie on the ground and wait for the car to come past so that they can launch themselves at it? And do they stick themselves to the ground like glue so that if you try and move them away, they're almost impossible to move without yanking on the leash? And obviously that's something we don't want. So all sorts of things like that. There's a lot of bits and pieces, information sort of bits in the homework booklet. So what we want to do is, first of all, think about, is your dog sensitive to sound of cars or the movement of cars, or is it both? And one way you can test that theory is you'll find clips on YouTube, on Google, all sorts of places of the sound of cars. Now, I'm not talking about revving engines and motorbikes, but the actual sound of just cars passing by, traffic noises. Put that on in your house at a low volume, a volume that your dog doesn't start off at, a volume that your dog does not react at all. And then over time, gradually turn the volume up a bit and watch your dog. Watch their ears. Watch if they start to turn their head and notice. Is it the sound that's triggering them? If it's the sound, then you can work on that. You can use those sounds to desensitize the dog. It's a process. It doesn't happen in a day. It will take lots of treats and rewards for calm behavior or play, calm play, to help with those things. Again, we'll talk about more about that on Friday, the techniques we would use. If it's the movement, then no matter what volume you have the traffic signs at, you should see no change really in your dog. And then that tells you a lot, actually. That tells you they're not really bothered about the sound so much. It's the actual movement. It's when it catches the corner of their eye. And many people would say to you, oh, just sit them at the top of the road. That's what I did. I sat with my dog at the top of the street for a fortnight, every day for a fortnight, and fed treats every time a car went past, and he's fine. Great. And that may have worked for them. That is not something I would recommend at all. In training, we call that flooding, and it actually can be quite dangerous to the mental health of the dog. Because if you have a fearful dog or a dog that's on the cusp between that fearful and confident place, you're actually sensitizing them. Sitting them there, watching it constantly, the cars constantly moving past their eyes and things like that. Sure, they might sit still, they might stop reacting. But why it's called flooding is because we are literally flooding the receptors in their brain with the very thing that triggers them and upsets them the most until they stop reacting. And when they stop reacting, they get into a state of what's called learned helplessness. And that's bad. That's basically when your dog has shut down. They can't learn. You can't teach them anything at that point. And if they're taking treats, it's mechanical. We want to teach them to feel different about the cars. The cars are not a thing. They are in the background of life, rather than something that they go out of the house and scan the environment to look for. So the body language, so your main task so far from this evening is your dog's body language, understand whether it's the sound or the movement or both. And then we come on to experiences. So car chasing, I have seen some people post whose dogs have unfortunately been struck by cars, thankfully not killed, but injured. Excuse me, one just last week. And the post, it made me really sad, but for a number of reasons. Not least because the post came across as, well, hopefully he's, you know, I'm really sad. He got hurt by the car and I hope he's learned his lesson. He didn't. He won't. Dogs don't think like we think. Border Collies definitely don't think like we think. And they don't learn certain things in the way we learn. And what do I mean when I say that? So if you were to go out in the road and get hit by a car, you would most definitely use the traffic lights, the zebra crossings forever. You've learned that actually that was really silly crossing the road with, you know, and the car came along. For a border collie, the thrill that they get from that lunging, barking, the chase, that thrill that they get, the dopamine hit in their brain gives them a high that, and there is nothing, if they get to that stage, there is nothing we can offer them that is of equal value at that point. That's why we have to train them and get in before they get to that point, because there's nothing we can offer. And a border collie that gets hit by a car will not learn, oops, that was dangerous, I'll not do that again. Because that high is worth, so that's risk and reward. We understand as humans the concept of risk and reward. They don't. They fixate. They were bred for it. It's in their hard wiring. This is what they do. So that's why training becomes so important. And if you, for example, it's also why just offering them treats as you're walking along the road, it won't change anything. To give you a human analogy, if you imagine the best thing, your most favorite thing in the world that you're doing, whether that's a bubble bath, reading a book, whether it's having peace and quiet to go and have a cuppa with no distractions, or let's face it, you've got border collies, so possibly even going to the toilet in peace would be your favorite thing. And you were doing that favorite thing, and someone said to you, can you come out, please, and I'll give you a cookie? Would you do it? Would you get out of your warm bubble bath? Would you get out of your cozy bed with your electric blanket for a biscuit? No, of course you wouldn't. And a border collie won't stop chasing cars for a biscuit. They won't stop chasing cars for anything unless you become the center. You become the most important thing in their environment. That's where the checking in and engagement and building the relationship. Relationship is everything with a border collie. You build your relationship to a good, strong place, you will know you're making progress. Your border collie's behavior towards you will change. Unlike any other dog, you get nothing for free with a border collie. You have to earn it. And once you do, this is why I do what I do. This is why I would put up with car chasing and having to train it, and the quirks that come along with border collies, the yapping or yipping as they do, the quirks that come along with them, because what I get back from my collies is worth it tenfold. But that relationship, working on that relationship, is absolutely everything. So something I want to show you is, so this is courtesy of Grisha Stewart. I'm hopeful that you can see it okay. I am aware, though, you might have to put it on full screen. I am aware that it might not look amazing. This is called the Stress and Support Scale, and it's courtesy of amazing Grisha Stewart. So when we talk about your dog's body language and where they're at what point you can get in, we are looking at your dog on the beach. And the aim of the game is to keep the dog on the beach. So when we talked earlier on about body language, This dog is on the beach. The dog in the green zone is on the beach. He's got a loose body, soft mouth and ears, not avoiding anything, not avoiding the trigger. He's sniffing the ground quite happily. He'll give passing glances to things around him. No reaction to things. He's exploring. He's happy. Excuse me. Then he moves slightly closer to being in the water. He's still doing okay, but we'll do that kind of slow stop. And if your dog is remotely reactive, you'll understand what I mean. That stop when they see something in the distance, they're kind of sizing it up. That's gathering information. Okay, do I want to go closer? Do I not? And when it comes to cars, that's the very first thing you tend to see. The ears twitch and things like that. And then you see the body start to change and they arc forward, they lean towards the thing. Ears are a bit more up, more focused, definitely. Then you get into the yellow zone. This is the bit where we want to start avoiding. The green and the blue, we're good. We can still step in, we can manage, we can train. They're still able to focus and learn and listen. Getting into the yellow zone, they're in the water a bit now. Arousal levels are starting to rise. Heart rate will be starting to rise. Threat level to them is starting to rise. That's maybe the car, they can hear it more, it's getting a bit louder. They will have trouble at this point disengaging without help. So at this point, if your dog gets to this point, you need to shift your weight back. I know the overriding, what's the word I'm looking for? Instinct is to go towards your dog. But if you move towards the dog thinks you're moving forward. So actually what you want to do is turn your body, just turn your body in the away direction. And you don't need to pull the leash, just even tap it to vibrate it. The dog will feel it. If they're only in the yellow zone, they will be able to respond to that. And you want to put distance between you and the thing. Now, bearing in mind what I said earlier on about the distance a collie can see, how much practice your dog has had at this will dictate the distance you need to go away. Then we get into the orange zone. They're really, up to their neck in water now, really becoming quite fixated. That low body posture I talked about earlier on, or they're starting to kind of clap down to the ground. You might see the tail up higher. Their breathing will be faster. Their hormones are starting to kind of rush and take over. It becomes really quite difficult at this level to get your dog to move away willingly without significant help. You won't probably be able to call them away. You might be able. If you can get their attention, great. Because the place you want to completely avoid at all costs is the red zone. They are under the water, they are gone. There is nothing of equal value you can give to them right now that is going to help them or make them want to leave the chase. At this point, you are going to get the lunging, the spinning, the barking, the flattening down on the ground, all of those behaviours in this red zone. They are over their head, over their threshold. In training, we call it a threshold. And we want to keep our dogs under threshold so that because when they're under that threshold of not being able to listen, they can still engage, they can still learn and listen and play and do all sorts of things. And that is the zone. So ideally, we want to keep them in the green and the blue zones. It's okay for them to be in the yellow zone, provided they are still able to listen and check in with us. That is the most important thing that we want to do. So it's all about, becomes about where is your dog's threshold? And part of that is in your homework. And so to let you understand, when I talk about them being over threshold and in that zone, that massive hit of dopamine, but what they can also get is a huge hit of cortisol. Cortisol is the stress hormone. And when a dog gets a hit of cortisol, that can take up to 72 hours to leave the dog's body. And a dog that's been stressed like that will find that it doesn't then take much. You get what's called trigger stacking. So in human terms, that would be you get up in the morning, you've got your clothes all ready from the night before. I'm going to leave this here just for another minute so you can continue to see. Your clothes are ready from the night before. And so you start off in the green zone, you wake up, your clothes are ready, then you go and put your clothes on and you find out there's a stain on your shirt. So now you're going to have to go and get a different shirt. You go downstairs and power's out. There's no power to make your coffee. That's another stressful event. So that tips you over into the yellow zone. Then you go out, you go in, and the car won't start. So by now you're feeling pretty annoyed, pretty stressed. And then you get to work only to find you're 10 minutes late for the meeting that you didn't know was on in the first place. And that's it. You blow a gasket, or you dissolve into tears, or you stomp around. And it's exactly the same. That's trigger stacking. So for dogs, the same sort of things happen. So if you've got a nervous dog, you take them out, and before you even leave the driveway, a stranger walks past, or before you leave the garden, a stranger walks past, and that sets them off a bit. They're a bit grumpy, maybe their hackles come up a bit. Then you leave the garden and you're walking towards the field, and a football rolls past or a kid runs past. That sets them off even more. So that's piled on top of the stranger that just walked past. Then you walk up and round the corner and there's someone on a bike. So you can see what I mean. Things build on top of each other. And then a car. So even a dog who wouldn't normally chase cars might actually explode. No dog is perfect. And dogs have off days just the same as we do. I'm going to take this back down now. So you have the absolute joy of just my face again. So cortisol can take 3 days to leave the dog's body. So if your dog is chasing cars because they're frightened and stressed, every event, every time they do that, they're getting that rush of cortisol, and that can take 3 full days. Some scientists now believe it could be even longer to leave their body. So then we go out the next day and the next day and the next day, and the cycle repeats and repeats and repeats. So if you imagine your dog is in a permanent state of high stress, you might see other sorts of behaviors in the house, displacement behaviors in the house. So it's about teaching them to be calm. And again, come Friday, when we talk about the teaching techniques and things like that, I'll go through all sorts of things like that. But for tonight, I'm going to, hopefully you've not fallen asleep while we've been watching. If you have any questions or comments, please do post them. Everyone's been very quiet. I'm hoping that's because you're engaged and you're enjoying it and you don't have any questions, but I would hope that you might have some. With regard to the homework, so I have here your car chasing collie workbook. So what I'm doing is I'm going to ask you tonight, if you can, tonight, tomorrow, at some point over tonight, tomorrow and Friday, there are a few tasks in here, 4 in total. Yep, 4 tasks. So if you can, have a look at, I'm not asking you to submit it tonight, but task 1 is, I want you to think about, you probably can't see that very well. I want you to think about things your dog likes. What does your dog love? Treats. Could be a ball, could be a tug toy, going for walks, petting. Hopefully you will be somewhere on the list. And even go finer than that. What kind of treats? Sausages, hot dog sausages, cocktail sausages, cheese, normal doggy training treat, biscuits. What else? What's other sorts of things? Oh, there's all sorts of treats. As I say, tug toys. Do they like playing with a ball? Do they like playing chase with you? Do they like doing tricks? Do they like doing training games? Write down all of the things that your dog loves and try and put an order. Also, in the second column, you're going to put an order of priority. Hopefully, you will come somewhere far up the list. But what I want is I want you to be really, really honest. If you don't think you are that far up the list, that's okay. That's why you're here. Then you have task 2, which is about rewards. Now, tomorrow night, we'll talk much more about rewards, but task 2, I want you to then think about, so once you've done the order of priority and what your dog likes, you're going to think about when your dog enjoys rewards, treats, whatever it is, and when they can't take them. Now, obviously, this training is in relation to car chasing, so that's a kind of given, but write it down anyway. So are there situations where your dog will happily enjoy taking rewards, where they're able to take a train and treat or some form of food-based reward for doing something that you like? And that could be when you're doing training or playing games in the house. It could be the garden. They might be able to do it when you're outside on a walk, all sorts of places. Think about all the places that you know that your dog could take a treat or a reward. And then think about situations where you think, actually, do you know what? Nah. In that situation, there is no way. And car chasing will likely be in that list, because when they get over that threshold, it doesn't matter what you offer them. If you've not built sufficient value in things yet, it doesn't matter what you offer them. They're not going to turn their head away because they're fixated. Are there any other circumstances when that happens? Is it when they see another dog or a strange person? Is it a person that has a hat on or has a specific colour of jacket? Do they respond, or are they then become unable to respond when they see kids? Or a plastic bag blowing across the street, is that enough to stress them out? Think about all the times where they can't take treats. And that starts to then build a picture of, okay, so in these situations, my dog is relaxed, calm, happy, able to learn, able to play. And in these situations, my dog is feeling that, oh, I'm a bit stressed, I'm a bit uncomfortable. And in these situations are going to become the situations where it becomes really, really important for you to really read the dog's body language. That then brings me on to task 3. Car-specific task. So, thinking about body language, this is task 3. Thinking specifically about body language. My dog looks like this when cars are near. So, before we see the car, and I've given some examples, it's okay if you use those examples if they apply to you. So, twitching ears, turning head, losing a bit of focus on me, stops taking treats. When I can hear the car, for example, stiff body, whole body pointing in the direction of the car, become hypervigilant, scanning, they go silent, their mouth is closed, and they stop listening altogether. And when a car comes into view or passes by. Now, the examples I've given there are lunging, barking, spinning, running away, tucked tail, flat ears, following the car, flattening on the ground. And for fearful dogs, and that might be a completely different list. It might be they start trying to pull away from you, they start trying to escape. But have a think about it and fill those bits in. And then finally, your last task, so to speak, is recovery. So when we talk about recovery, what do we mean? So what that means is when your dog is exposed to a specific situation, how long does it take them to go back to that calm, relaxed, loose lead walking kind of posture, you know? That's what we call recovery. How quickly does your dog bounce back, basically, from when they see a car and when they react accordingly to that car? Now, what I am going to say is for everyone who is not currently in the group, if you want to join the group, the Positive Pups Dog Training group, if you submit your homeworks, all of the tasks, there's a specific homework thread at the top. If you submit all your tasks in there, then at the end of all of the sessions, I'll probably give it till Saturday, Sunday, depending on how everybody's fixed. I will then choose at random, I'll put everybody's names in a hat, literally, and I will choose at random. And the winner will get a free month in the Happy Herder College. The doors to which are currently open now for new enrolments. If ongoing training is something that you want to take part in, please do take a look. All of the modules that, all of the skills, sorry, that I deal with and talk about in these sessions are included in it, along with lots and lots of other things. So if it's something that interests you, if you want to continue, you also have a private Facebook community where you can get personalized feedback from me when you're doing your training. You can upload training videos and get personalized feedback. I can also help you build a training plan if that's something that you struggle with. And then from time to time, what we'll do is we'll also have challenges. So starting probably next week now, I'm going to be doing Advent for Happy Herders. And throughout the month of December, I will be uploading a new trick or a new something just fun to do with your dog. Because I think we also can get bogged down in training, and training should be fun. That is the most important thing. Training should be fun. So what I'm going to do now is, just while I'm on, if you are interested in joining the Happy Herder, you can either pop it in the comments, or you can, if you've got any questions about it or anything like that, pop that in the comments, and I'll try and answer any questions about it. And you can find it on, I think one of the emails that came out to you just to welcome you. You'll get an email just confirming that doors are open for enrolment. I am open to any questions, any comments, anything like that. I see Amanda, you have popped in a comment. Very interesting, thanks. Miss Ellie was on car movement trigger. Okay, unfortunately, lead work is a big work in progress. You know, that's so often the case. Car chasers often have real difficulty with lead pulling as well. So loose lead walking, it's one of the first questions I ask my clients when if I'm doing one-to-ones. Can your dog walk on a loose leash? And if the answer is no, and I know they're a car chaser, that's one of the first things that I work on, is actually loose lead walking. And what I quite often get asked, what on earth has loose lead walking got to do with car chasing? And actually, the way I deal with car chasing is it's like peeling an onion, because it is not, certainly for me as a positive trainer, teaching dogs not to chase cars is not about, it's not as simple as just training different behaviors. Because if you think about what we talked about earlier on, that intrinsic internal high that they get from that, there's nothing we can do that can even come close. So what we want to do, what we aim to do with a layered approach to training, is teach them to feel differently about the cars. They are not something that should upset them to the point of wanting to chase them. Even with their instincts, what we can do is find alternative outlets for those instincts. Some people play football, some people do, there's a rise in something called urban herding now. Treiball, Treibball is its correct name. And Simone Mueller, a wonderful trainer, does predation substitute training. I'm hopeful that at some point in the new year, I might be able to get Simone to come and do a presentation for us in the Happy Herder, because I think that's something that would be really, really useful. So there's lots of layers. There's layers in teaching calm. There's layers in teaching checking in with you. I want my dogs to see me as the most valuable thing. And I know that might sound a bit like, oh yeah, she's got delusions of grandeur. But actually, no. I want my dogs to see me as the most important thing. And when your dog does, then life just becomes so much easier. Recall becomes easier. Teaching a down stay or a down on the move becomes easier, because they want to respond to you. They feel bonded to you. So I'm going to stop rambling on about that. I hope tonight has been useful, and I'm going to just go through the comments. So Amanda, the end of your comment, car movement trigger, yep, lead work, a big work in progress, tried many different ways. I do reward for checking in. Yeah, that's absolutely okay. That is definitely, have had to revert to a halty, which is helping. Yeah, I would, I can support and do support the use of head collars and things like that as a short-term measure. I don't support it for long-term use. And the reason for that is because anything that goes around the dog's nose, now muzzles are different, but I would only ever recommend a basket muzzle as well. Anything that comes around and fits around the dog's snout can compress their nerves, basically. So we have something like I want to say 35,000, I think, scent receptors in our nose. Dogs have something like 10 times that. So it's very, very easy to damage things in a dog's nose. And they use it for, I mean, that's how they explore the world. Their mouths and their noses, that's how they explore the world. So as a short-term measure, I would say yes, absolutely, Amanda, but I would want to be working towards loose lead walking. Successful loose lead walking is what I'd want to be working towards, so that you don't need to use it. Building relationship with you so that the dog wants to check in. Yes, absolutely, keep rewarding for checking in. I hope that's answered that question for now. If not, just pop another comment in and let me know. Sydney, oh, thank you. Thanks for a superb presentation. Easy to listen to and understand. I'm so good. I'm so pleased. I certainly know Border Collies well. Oh, this would be the cat. This is Border Cat. Gizmo, the only cat I've ever known that plays fetch. Facebook user. I know this group is specifically for Border Collies. We have an Old English sheepdogs, which display the same quirks. Yes, it's not unheard of. I'm assuming the training is equally applicable as both breeds are pastoral working breeds. Yes, absolutely. So the way I describe the training that I do is, and the training that's in the Happy Herder College online is traditional training works for all dogs to a point. And then because of the quirks and things that Border Collies and English sheepdogs and other pastoral Malinois, various dogs like that display, they need then specialist training. And a lot of the training I use comes from an amazing program called Control Unleashed by Leslie McDevitt. And I'm just hopefully before Christmas about to become the first certified Control Unleashed instructor in Scotland. So I'm thrilled. And she's an amazing woman. And the difference that's made. So my dog, Zach, who is currently, you can't see him just now because he's lying behind Border Cat. He's a rescue from the SSPCA. Got him about 6 months ago. He was previously a farm dog, but without going into too much detail about his backstory, he was extremely nervous when he came to us. It took him fully 6 months to decompress. Zero trust, nothing. I've had to work and earn every cuddle I've had from Zach, and only now is he able to cope with being on a leash and understanding training. He's actually starting to really engage with training, and a lot of that is because of the stuff I've done with him through the Control Unleashed stuff. And a lot of that is in the Happy Herder. So it's allowed him, the way the training works, the way my training works is it gives, excuse me, young man. It's all about choice. Giving your dogs choice. I'll not say much more about the training until Friday, but that's basically what it's all about. Giving them choices, let them choose. And then when they see the consequences of the choices, then hopefully we encourage them positively always to make better choices. So Cara, my collie seems to find the anticipation of a car coming as triggering as it is when it's going past. Yeah, I live in a village. and he has a map of the roads in his head and knows where the trigger zones are for a car most likely to be even before it's there. Only a few strides out of my garden, he's already very heightened. Okay, even his lead is a trigger. I have to use a head collar to be safe. Do we still have a chance to rewire with this level of sensitivity? Bless him. He also chases birds. Yes, yes, absolutely. The answer is yes, you do have a chance to rewire. Reading that, I would start off where we come from with that is because you've said even I am assuming when you say the lead is triggering, that's when you pick it up in the house to get ready to go out. I think I would start working inside the house with him first. There's exercises I would do in the house to teach him to be calm before you leave the house. Dogs that go out of the front door already wired are much more likely to continue car chasing and do it with some force. And a 25 or 20 kilo dog pulling on the end of a leash, yeah, that can become dangerous. But yes, Cara, I would say there's lots of exercises there we can use to teach your dog to be calmer, to be desensitized to the lead. I'd work on some of that. And if you're going to be here on Friday, stick around on Friday, and we can talk about it. As I say, everything is in the Happy Herder. If anybody is, excuse me, remotely interested in signing up, remotely interested. I probably shouldn't say remotely interested. So yes is the answer. Of course, there is a chance. There is more than a chance. There is no dog that cannot be trained, or very few dogs that cannot be trained. It's just about, it's going to be for you, I think, if he is clearly unable to listen or is not willing to listen. For you, I think it's going to be more about building your relationship, getting the checking in, getting him to be a bit calmer, and then we start working on actually, where do we need to be? So your trigger zones, for example, you know where it is, he knows where it is. So actually what will happen when we talk about the training on Friday is you will find that you are then able to map the areas where he will react. And then we can put distance between him and the triggers. I know that might not always be possible in a village, and we will talk about all of that on Friday. And management. Come and make sure you're on tomorrow, because tomorrow's about management. And what management means is, what do we do to prevent them from practicing while we train? So we don't want to allow them to keep rehearsing these behaviours, because, practice makes perfect. And we definitely don't want that. Amanda, I only really use by road. I'm not sure what that means. Oh, the halty. You only use the halty when you're going by the road. Is that right? Facebook user, finding this very interesting and have certainly got lots to learn, but are finding you easy to understand. Good. I'm really glad. So I don't think there's no more comments or questions at the minute. Yes, sorry, okay. Yeah, the halty by the road. That's okay. I'm not judging. I am truly not judging. So please don't think I am. We do what we need to do. I would call the halty management. So we'll if you're around tomorrow, for tomorrow night's live, we'll talk about it then. Oh, Cara, thank you. So lovely to be understood. We have an amazing relationship with Patch. Inside, it's literally facing the outside world. Yeah, that can be a problem. For border collies, some of them just struggle in a built-up, scary world. There are so many moving parts to our world. And for a dog that's been bred for centuries to run in open fields and think for themselves and all that kind of stuff, it's tough. It's really tough for them. And it's tough for us sometimes when we don't really understand what's going on inside their heads. So I hope you have all found tonight useful. I certainly hope that you'll join me again tomorrow night. Tomorrow, as I say, we're going to be doing management and rewards. If you're not already in the group, please do join the group if you want to do your homeworks and get a chance to get a free month in the Happy Herder, I'd be delighted to see you in there. There is a specific thread, as I say, for homework posts. I'm not expecting you to fill in the document and upload that. By all means, just pop a post on and separate. So for the ones where you've got a split table, just put a little heading and then what goes in that bit, and another heading and what goes in that bit. And I'll keep an eye on the homework posts and things like that. And as I say, when we get to Friday, if everyone's managed to upload their homework and put their posts in, we'll get some, and it will help you. I think my aim with these sessions is to help you understand your dog a little bit better, understand why they're doing what they're doing, where it comes from, whether it is a place of fear or whether it's hardwired herding. Is opportunity to watch on catch up? Yes, absolutely. So yeah, before we go this evening, these live sessions will remain in the group and on my page for a week, at which point I'll then move them into the Happy Herder College. So, but yes, you absolutely will have a week to play catch up. Lynn, thank you. Very interesting. Oh, thank you. That's really kind of you. I'm really pleased. If you are enjoying it and you've liked it, you've enjoyed it, just pop a wee like on if that's okay, because then it will help others find the lives if they've not been able to attend tonight. I know there's quite a few more people signed up than have been able to attend. So if you can like or love, that would be amazing. And I will see you all tomorrow. And as I say, if you can't be on tomorrow, yes, you will have a week of opportunity to catch up. And hopefully I'll be looking forward to seeing some of your homework posts as we go through. Any questions in the meantime, just drop me an email or send me a message. It's Angie at positive, PAWSITIVE-ups.co.uk is my personal email, or you can send a message or put a comment on the group. And I will see you all at 7:30 tomorrow, bright and breezy and ready to talk about management and rewards. Thank you so much, everyone. Bye.